Ladies and gentlemen, good evening once again to yet another episode of Ground Zero Everyday Leaders. It's season 2 of the event that we have on my YouTube channel. And tonight is just yet another exciting evening, certainly an exciting evening for me, because I'm looking forward to speak to this lovely guest we are hosting today. You see, I clearly remember that while we try, or we are reminded as adults, that while we try to teach our children all about life, our children teach us what life is all about. And tonight, that probably gives you guys a hint. And tonight we have our guest, a child, a 12-year-old girl who's studying in her 7th standard, and her name is Rehana, Rohan, Kamat, Timble. So, Rehana, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's actually a pleasure being here and speaking to you.
Super. Well, you know, being nominated as a child prodigy on a global platform, it kind of, brings a lot of cheer to me because I'm speaking to one. And when I define prodigy, a child who's good at something, right? A prodigy is someone who's good at something. When I find out about you, is you are good at many things. So I really don't know whether there's a plural for the word prodigy, Rehana, because I've read about you, I've heard about you, and you seem to be multi-talented.
Thank you so much for appreciating me.
Yes, no, it's always a pleasure to be watching children grow with such talent. So congratulations and God bless. Tell me something, you are good at a lot of things, but seems like you have picked up coding and writing as obviously two of the greatest things during the pandemic. Do you want to tell us something more about it?
I think because of the pandemic, I got actually an opportunity to learn coding. Because during the pandemic, we were all at home. And I was just researching about what else can I do? Because being at home, I wanted to discover something else, find a new hobby in myself, a new passion. So hence, I just started researching and I came across coding and I started coding. And I can actually recollect my first day wherein I think I was a bit confused because there were many thoughts that were surrounding me. What is it? Will it be beneficial? First of all, will I like it? But as I proceeded, I think I really, really enjoy coding. I finished many courses, the Arduino practical course, the theory course. I've learned Python language, the C language. And reading and writing is always a hobby, a passion of mine. Because when I was a kid, my mother used to read to me many fairy tales, many Panchatantra stories. And sometimes I used to observe her reading and I started grasping the hobby. And it's always been a passion to read and write. And I'm sure it's going to continue to be so.
Well, the style of your writing reflects a lot of that. I mean, I used to read a lot of these books as well, and including Tinkle and some of the other small, beautiful magazines we used to get during our childhood. But certainly your style resonates that, and I'm sure we'll pick up more as we go along this talk. Tell me, Rehana, what inspires you most in life?
I think the time. Because time once gone, we cannot get that back. So I feel, and I have this really strong belief in myself, just be fruitful and make the best use of this time. I also have this thought that just use every minute effectively, as I said. And in your present time, you should be that you have used your time effectively in the past. You should be doing the same now. You should be constructive in doing it in the future. You should be better than your past and your present. You should dream big and dream more. So the main thing that inspires me is just the time.
Right. And it actually suggests a lot. And one of the interviews that I've watched of your shows, you talk about 3 essential learnings during the pandemic. And I think these are projects, you kind of describe them as.
Yeah.
You can tell us more about it.
It's a home automation system that I created. I created a Bluetooth control car. I think home automation is the need now, because home automation is we sometimes we forget, and we tend to forget to leave our lights on, the lights or the all the appliances. And I use this, I can't get the name now, but you can control it from a distance of 50 meters, and you can switch off your lights, your electrical appliances. So that was home automation system. Bluetooth control car is basically a car that was created. You can give the signals from your phone to move straight, back, right, left, to switch on the front lights, the horn, the back lights. And in home automation system, I had two methods. One was the voiceover, where I actually said bulb one on, and the bulb one was on. So I had connected it and coded it in that way. And the second thing was I was sending messages. Like I'd also coded it in such a way that if I send the letter A, it should turn on this light. If I send B, it should turn off that light. Mm-hmm. So there were two methods in controlling the home automation system project that I had created.
Right.
And actually, there are many projects that I've created.
I'm sure, but I kind of recollect these three because I have heard about them. And also, I think one of the most essential things you probably forgot to mention was the automated hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that was also a project that I created. As I said, there were many, so it's kind of tough to remember.
Fantastic. Well, all of this, and you also mentioned about your interest of listening to stories right from childhood. But how about writing? How did what inspired you to write a book?
As I said, time, because we all were free and I was learning coding, but simultaneously I wanted to do something different, something that would, I think, build my own personality. And I just started writing. I never had even the faintest thought that I want to publish my book. It was just that it's my hobby. So I just wrote down a few stories. And when I showed it to my parents, I presented it to them. They were really happy and they said, let's publish this as a book. And I really can't express how happy I was. So it was just a gradual thing that came up, and now there's my book, and I'm really happy, really proud. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure many of your friends are proud of you as well.
Yeah.
And for those viewers who would like to actually see what the book kind of looks like, this is the book I have in my hand right here, and this is the book written by our guest, Rehana. So Rehana, proud of you for having published your first book, and this is just a start. Now, it's a very interesting book. It really takes you back memory lane of the pandemic, and kind of we're trying to forget the pandemic, of course, but it's the new today that we are all living in. And certainly this book has a lot of advice to the kids and the children, if not for all. But a great thought. But before we get into the details, you know what, Rehana, I'm going to kind of help the audience understand what the book is all about in brief by kind of getting into a small quiz. It's not going to be difficult for you because you're the author and the quiz is all about the book, right? So let me try doing this. Let's do this. Let's have some fun. Okay, I'm going to ask you these questions. Which part of the book, Rehana, or the story from the book Tales in the Pandemic that you are the author excites you the most?
Excites me the most.
Yes.
I think the birthday party story, because I think most of us have experienced birthday parties privately with our close families. So that really excites me. Right.
No, and you know what? I mean, I also had the privilege of actually reading through your book. So, I've read through it, and I'm actually watching you answer these questions because I can see the honesty in your answers. You picked up the name Windley family.
Yeah.
When you talk about this family that you're referring to in the book, you picked up the name Windley. How did you arrive at this name?
Actually, I really like the Enid Blyton books, and they always have these really nice British names. So I always had this thought that even I want some kind of name, and I'm just thinking of a name, and the Winley family sounded nice, and I chose that name.
Right, right. And among the Winley family, Rehana, and I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask you this question. Who is your favorite among the four?
I think the small child, Shania.
Somehow resembles you.
Yeah, there are many similarities. Even the birthday party story also has many similarities.
Right.
The cake, the dress she wears. And I would also like to add in, so the inspiring part of this book was the last story, that was Travel Plans Go Astray. Because the child prodigy event that I've attended in the end of October this year, it was actually supposed to take place in May. But because of the second wave of COVID and the spike in cases, it was cancelled. And as patience pays, we all know. So because we had patience and we had the patience to wait, I think after this book, I was recognized more because of my book and my coding. And because of now, earlier in the first phase, we didn't have a solution to travel. Now we have solutions, like the adults are vaccinated. But as I'm 12 years old and I don't fall in the vaccinated category, I had to do my RT-PCR, and that was a solution to going there. And after I finished with my RT-PCR, I'd gone there. So
Right.
that was a really inspirational part, and I've put in my heart in all the stories, but I think I give my extra special to this one.
Absolutely. No, I think not just this one, it actually, you can actually feel that everything that you've written in this book is from your heart. So very well written. But we're still on the quiz. It's question number 4 for you. You write about beautiful delicacies in the book, and Shania's mom in the book, Mrs. Winley, makes some nice little dishes for her.
Yeah.
Right? And my question, obviously, to you is, which among those dishes is your favorite?
I think I like all of the continental dishes. That's a British family, so they have all these kind of dishes. So I think more than the Indian, I like these kind of dishes.
Right.
So basically, be salads, dressed with lemon and boiled egg.
Right. You seem to enjoy that, right? I can see that in the mention in the book itself. Number 5. Obviously, you had Shania, the little girl, as your main character in the book, right?
Yeah.
And that is probably with the reason in mind. What is the reason, Rehana?
Because she is 6 years old, and till 5 years old, I think children are quite happy at home. But when you're 6 years old, 6 to 14 is the main age where you go to school, you have friendships, you have lots of friends. And she was like, why can't I go to school? Why do I have to follow these instructions? So she is a bit confused. She does get angry sometimes because her parents delay her answers by saying, just wait for some time, I need to do something. But I think she's nice. She has the capacity to grasp and understand and adapt.
You have Mr. Winley as a character, as the dad of Shania. What do you like about him?
I think I find that character is very serious. He's a bit into jokes and fun, but he's more of a chartered accountant, a man who's more into his work, is a bit strict. So that's what. And I think I've taken lots of his character also refers to my father's characters.
I can imagine. Well,
though my father is an architect.
Right. Well, you know what, Rehana? You scored 10 out of 10. As I said, this was the simplest quiz that you probably ever answered. But one last question, Rehana, comes to mind is, whom do you credit, this idea of publishing a book?
First, it goes to my parents because it was their thought, let us publish your book. And I think without that step, my book wouldn't be at this pedestal. So they have given wings to my imagination, my vision, my thinking, my writing. So first, my parents. Then I think the credit goes to my uncle because he has also helped me a lot in the editing of the book. and my entire family, because without that support, I think I wouldn't be here. So, of course, my entire family also owes a thank you. The editors of the book, the publisher, of course, and I think everyone else I would like to express my gratitude to who has been a part of the successful journey of my book.
Well, one thing that I would like to add to the compliments that you just mentioned is the beautiful artwork that's on the book. I think it's the sketches by Shannon
Yeah.
DeCosta, right? And
Yeah.
those were amazing clips or artwork resembling the Binley family.
Yeah, because it's really important. It's equally important to depict it pictorially also.
Right, right. So, friends, once again, a reminder for you guys. This is the book that our guest Rehana has written, and this book has been written during the pandemic. The title
This
itself,
year,
right?
in April, May, I started it.
Right. So the title
2020.
itself suggests that it is a book written around a family that experiences a new today during the pandemic and how they deal with it. And especially as Rehana rightly said, it was not easy for the younger ones, the little children, to understand what is really happening around them, because everything changed overnight, and that was probably something difficult. And the way Rehana has portrayed, Shania's character and how she has, portrayed how she deals with the pandemic is amazingly beautiful. Let's move on to life in general. Who in life now? We're coming to Rehana's life. Who in life inspires you the most?
The first is always my parents, because I truly agree to Dr. Abdul Kalam saying that your first inspiration is always your parents. Because when I came to this world, I first saw them, their hard work, and everything that they do for me. So, first inspiration for me is always them. Second inspiration is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, because he was a great personality, and I feel no one can substitute him till date. He was original, optimistic, and I really like this thing about him that even though he was in the ISRO and he was more into science, technology, he was still on the path of peace, humanity with people, ahimsa, non-violence, though he was in ISRO. So that's really one thing that inspires me. And of course, coming from a middle class family, he was able to achieve great heights of success.
Yes. In fact, his love for children was amazing as well. I kind of remember this story about Abdul Kalamji, when he had this very hardworking engineer working for him. And you know how engineers work, right? Once they're given a project, they forget about their own self and they work so hard, relentlessly. And this particular engineer had told Abdul Kalamji that at 5 p.m. that evening, he had to take his children to an exhibition, right? And so being himself, he was so engrossed in work that he forgot about the 5 p.m. thing. And he realized only when he finished work at 8 p.m. that he had done a blunder. He went home expecting his wife to be hammering back at him. And his wife was very calm, very cool. And, and this scientist was kind of taken aback. He said, "Why are you so calm? I expected you to be angry. I haven't taken the children to this exhibition. I promised them I would take them to." And she kind of replied and she said, "Your boss came at 5 p.m. and took our kids to the exhibition." And guess who the boss was? It was Abdul Kalamji. So such was the principles that this man brings. And I'm very glad that you chose him as one of your role models. Essentially, your parents become, your primary role models because you live with them every day. You watch them as you grow, and you've chosen an amazing role model to kind of emulate Rehana. And yes, I'm a big fan of him as well. So great to hear on that subject. Now, I can only imagine that it's quite natural, even though you're just a 12-year-old child. You already must be having a feeling about your next book, and I don't want to force an answer out of you here, but I would like to find out from your thoughts. Is there a thought of writing a next book, and if so, on what subject?
There are many thoughts, but I haven't thought of the subject as yet.
Right.
But I'm under this thinking that it's going to be a fiction, non-fiction, a fictional book. So I'm just thinking of how it's going to be, on what subject, and that. So
Well,
that's the thought in my mind till yet.
absolutely, and that's the way it should be. I'm sorry if I've had asked you the wrong question, but
Not at all.
but it's as natural as what happened with the book you just completed, right? Tales in the Pandemic. Life progresses that way. You kind of have things take you along the path you choose, but as long as you value time, which we hear from you is what you value most, you are on the right track, Rehana. So all the best with whatever you do. During leisure, what does Rehana do?
Mostly it's just I sit with a book and I'm lost into my own thoughts and worlds of fictional and non-fictional. And otherwise, it's not that I'm only into co-curricular activities and academics. I even feel fitness is important. So I even dance, I do Zumba, I perform yoga, and these for and 15 minutes a day. And sometimes I even sing songs. Like there was a hit song these few days that was Mani Ke Make Hite. It was a Sri Lankan song.
Right.
So I had sang that as well. And sometimes some Hindi songs, English songs, Marathi songs.
That's amazing. That's an all-rounder.
And sometimes I just relax, because sometimes when you just relax, you have more thoughts in your mind when you just give time for your own self. And with those thoughts, I pen down poetries, write down articles. So that's
you found the way pretty early, Rehana. I mean, giving time to yourself and being in a beautiful place such as Goa, you have plenty of that opportunity to find a nice little place, go in a corner, or even go by the beach or seaside and think about ideas, and to sit back and think about those ideas is certainly a way to go as well. Given an opportunity, let's say you are already a famous personality, Rehana. Let me not take that credit away, right? So I'm honored to be interviewing, but let me ask you a question. I'm sure everyone, even Tendulkar, had his own favorite cricketer, right? So, given an opportunity, which famous personality would you like to meet, and why?
He is not now, but I wish I could have met Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Extraordinary that I think I just would have loved to meet him.
Right. So it seems like you have read a lot about him, and you are truly inspired by APG Kalamji, and why not, right? He's certainly a great role model to follow. We're almost coming towards the end of this episode today, Rehana. But before we go, I would like you to express, or rather tell the viewers as to how we can actually have your book available.
So it's at the Singbals bookstall in Panjim, the Varsha bookstall in Panjim, Broadway in Panjim, the Delfino Supermart in Panjim and in Porvorim. And of course, now most of us order it from Amazon. So it's also available on Amazon. And if it's in Margao, then it's available at Trimart.
Right. Well, I hope you guys have got a note of all that. I'll certainly try and display it in our channel as well. But, to make things very simple, you can actually get the book right here, which is called Tales in the Pandemic on Amazon.in or .in, I suppose. Right. So, reminds me, Rehana, to be very honest with you, reminds me of my times, and it was probably the 5th standard. Okay, it was the 5th standard, and we were 3 or 4 friends. I was a big fan of Amitabh Bachchan ji, right? And so were these other 3 or 4 friends, and we started writing a movie script literally at that age, and guess what? That never really happened. It never really happened. But kudos to you, because to have something written and then bringing it out in the public is essentially a great achievement. And I know you got a lot of support and so on and so forth. But the credit goes to you as well, because you made it happen. And if there was no contents, if there was no talent of writing things on paper, that would have not been easy. So, congratulations once again to you,
Thank you.
Rehana. So, before we wind down and end the show, there are many children who would be also watching, some of your age, some even elders, some children like me, some younger to me. My point here, or rather my question to you, Rehana, or what would you want to say to the audience tonight?
I think just make the best use of your time. Be passionate. Do what you want. Have faith in yourself. And just do what you want. That's all you need. Your inner belief, your inner encouragement to help you do what your heart tells you, the directions your mind gives you. That's all. And you're going to be someone only when you have the inner belief that you can do it, you will do it, you're going to do it someday.
Well, guys, I'm not sure whether you need any more motivation than what you heard from this young lady who is striding away towards a lot of successes. What's important is not the successes that she achieves, but what's important is what she gives back to the society, what she has learned from her time and from her parents and people around. So all power to you, Rehana, as you progress forward. I'm sure your school, your teachers, your parents, your relatives are also proud of you, and we are all proud of you. Keep going forward, keep inspiring children, because nowadays the only thing people around require is empowerment. And I'm so glad that I've interviewed a leader on the ground, and that's what the show is all about. It's ground zero everyday leaders, and you are an everyday leader. You don't necessarily have to be a politician, a CEO of a company to inspire others. There are people like you who are on the ground. And guess what, Rehana? Congratulations, because you are my youngest guest so far.
Thank you.
In our broadcast or in our show, which is called Ground Zero Everyday Leaders. So, dear friends, thank you for watching us and spending this short journey with Rehana. She has so much to tell that I once again urge and encourage you to buy that book and encourage Rehana even further. Most importantly, subscribe to our channel, keep following us, keep watching us, and also follow Rehana. She's got a lot coming up for us all. Thank you very much. And Rehana, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Yeah, have a nice day.
And a happy Children's Day to all. Let's not forget that, right?
Yeah, happy Children's Day to all.
In Rehana's book, The Tales in the Pandemic, in its introduction itself, there's a quote by Virginia Woolf. It's the first line in the book. Books are the mirror of the soul, it states. And it's without a doubt my experience tonight talking to Rehana projected that the soul in her that's humble yet strong, calm yet stern, innocent yet full of wisdom. I enjoyed listening to every bit of it. Probably that's why it's said a writer not just writes, but can also narrate as fluently as he or she writes. Here's wishing Rehana miles more of blessings, as she has so much more to give to us all as she grows. And to all you wonderful viewers out there, more power. God bless, and here's Alan D'Souza signing off tonight and wishing you all a great evening and happy Children's Day tomorrow. Stay blessed.